Welcome one and all. I am Lex.
I'm Hazen Fields II.
And I'm Trey. How you doing today?
This is Various Fields.
Yes.
We're here to welcome you.
And all of our friends.
Oh,
All of
wow.
our friends. And
Spoiler alert.
yeah, because I wanted to talk about friendships today, guys. I wanted to talk about friends.
Yes.
Did you guys know coming up is National Friendship Day?
I did not
know that.
At some point, eventually, that will happen. I know that it exists on the calendar.
Oh, I see.
And at some point, I said
okay.
coming up.
Okay.
I said eventually.
Oh, that's true. Good point.
Yeah,
Well,
at
Like
some
in
point
terms
that'll
of like how cyclical.
in terms of how time works.
yeah,
Okay,
that's
gotcha.
it. Yeah,
Makes
okay,
sense.
all right.
Yeah.
National Friendship Day.
But I wanted to bring it up because it's been on my mind recently, and I'm not. Maybe it's Dad, maybe it's you, maybe it's comics, or I don't know. I like to be a good friend. I like to be a good friend to my friends, things like that. I've noticed in my mind, I don't think friendships are in the, let's go with social zeitgeist, represented as something to be cherished as much as other relationships.
Wow.
Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
like, you put your family first. You put even like in terms of success or progress, not your coworkers first, but your job first.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Right.
Nels brought up social media kind
Right.
of thing. So like, yes, you can have followers and friends and people, maybe even a community, but like your friend from school, the friend that's always been there, your longtime friend or something like that, and it's like, especially as you get older, especially for men, I would say, I think it's relatively well known. I think women tend to just be usually better at holding social spaces and like usually better at like having certain level of connection to social bonds and connecting emotionally.
Interesting.
But I also think it's cultivated. I'm not saying that's across the board. I just think that's something that's taught more. I feel like men are kind of taught to be like, tough it out, things like that, and that can get in the way of friendships. Or like I need to be a hard worker, and by the nature, hard worker, it's harder to hard work with a friend if you guys have two separate careers. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter. I think I'm setting it up enough, but I'm like, I think that bothers me. Another thing that's online a lot is people not talking about having enough third spaces. Or a lot of people who are like, I feel like I'm not feeling connected.
Did you say third spaces?
Yes, I'm so sorry. I realize I'm rambling real
please.
quick.
No, I don't know what third spaces.
I have no idea what that is.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Third spaces, a lot of people talk about it in the terms of like people don't go to libraries as much anymore. People don't go to coffee.
Isn't that interesting?
People don't go to coffee shops as much anymore. People also say it's very much since the pandemic, because everything was shut down for a while, but they're saying we don't have a community space as much. A lot of people are staying home more often or just going to work, but people don't have their community spaces as much.
Third.
And
So
then
third space
now
would be
there's
what? Someplace outside of your house?
outside of your house, outside of your work, outside of something obligated, like a place you just go to hang. It's like that's not as much anymore. That's not because also people. There's more stuff at home. You can just chill on Netflix. I'm not saying it's a bad.
Wow, that makes me sad. The term.
I'm so sorry to. This has been on, and because there's also like this whole another thing online is this epidemic of loneliness. There's the idea that people feel a whole bunch of. Sorry, we're targeting a whole bunch of things.
No, you are hitting a lot.
No, please.
I'll lay it on the table, but the whole thing comes down to something that's been on my mind for all these reasons, for a multitude of reasons that I have seen, is I don't think friendships are talked about enough. That's my pitch.
All right. Wow.
Welcome to Various Fields, everybody. Please like and subscribe. And even though we were talking about friendships, we also would like to be your friend
We
today.
want to be your friend.
Yeah. Like, share, subscribe, hit all the buttons. It felt like it was going down a very downward spiral, but I want to say,
guys, eyes glazed over. I sorry.
No, that's fine. No,
but
it's fine.
I do want to say, like, I kind of want to fight against that a little bit. I like again, like the third spaces I've never heard about, so that might be true. I know, like, post COVID. No, I like so post COVID. I'm aware not a lot of people are going out anymore. People have found a lot more comfort being homebodies because of the fact that, like, now we have movie theaters coming to us. Like throughout the entirety of the beginning of the streaming wars and the pandemic itself.
Right.
A lot of people have been taking their time. A lot of streaming platforms are taking their time to put a lot of media in front of us in the convenience of home, so that way we don't have to go out much. And now that we have accessibility to outside again, we're like, do I really want to spend X amount of dollars to be here in silence around a whole lot of people?
Right.
So I understand that much. But the whole friendship thing, I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of, like, I understand there's influencers and there's a lot of people that are using followers to, market themselves, right? So a lot of need for those, I guess, publicity friends, right, are a lot more known, right? But I think there is also a lot of pushback with people trying to find like those true one or two people that are in your corner always, and I see those a lot. Like, even though you might have 100 of followers and 100,000 tweeters or whatever the case may be, like there is always that genuine that you could take. Sorry if you haven't noticed, I'm kind of like coming over from like being under the weather, so I do apologize if I sound nasally. But there is a lot of people that are really fighting for like those confidants in your life, right? That you may not even hear about on social media because they are that so near and dear to your heart. They don't have to be publicized all the time.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I don't. So yeah, I'll separate the two. I'm not saying because we don't hear about this that people don't have friends. I mentioned social media as a thing. I mentioned both social media and the third spaces as a thing. Like, this is stuff I'm hearing online, right? So, like, and I think I've experienced this. Like, I don't know the last time I've gone to a library, but also, I don't know, I'm older now. I have access to books. I've gone to Barnes & Nobles. It's just, like, things change, right? So that,
right.
But the main thesis of all I'm saying is that, like, I will say I don't think I personally hear about the same level of energy that's given to a lot of other things in life. It's like, hey, you have to be better to work as a, you have to work harder at being a good employee, or like work harder at your industry or career. The whole grind set thing is very popular on YouTube, or like and which is good. It's like a lot of America in itself is about individualism. Do the best that you can, and how can you be better, and all that kind of things. And I feel like the energy can be very good. Just very rarely do I hear it placed on friendships. And I just think it's an underrated relationship. That's people treat it underrated, and therefore like your friends get, because let's say you have a partner, and like your friend has the expectation of like, oh, my partner called me, they want to do this thing, that I gotta go, and your friend's like, oh yeah, if they're a good friend, they're like, yeah, sure, I get it. They get that. Most people have that, but that sucks. You know what I mean? Like that. There's you know what I mean? That's just there.
Wow.
Does it?
I don't think it's. I'm saying I just think it's underrated. I'm not saying like someone treating their partner well, and someone like their actual marriage, girlfriend, whatever the case is, someone treating their partner well, absolutely fine. That makes sense. Do your thing, right? But I'm saying like I feel I hear about that all the time. You hear about like, hey, online is like, hey, how can men be better in relationships, or how can women be in better relationships, or how to be better partners? There's relationship therapy. There's no like friendship therapy. Like, I'm just saying like, I just feel like friendships are underrated as a conversational point.
That is so heavy. I think that these guys have unraveled something that is a point on the love compass. And if the overarching word is love, where does friendship fall into it? Right. And I also think, if I can bring into my own thing, friendships over the years in my generation is different than now. Because of social media, people will tout the word, I have these many friends, and worse, I have these many followers, right. And which comes under, being an emperor or a king to me, or something like that. But yeah, I am very proud that I grew up in a time where friendships were done face to face,
right?
Where you made friends, you create. That's an interesting phrase. How do you make a friend? You build. Did you take parts and build them, or do you build a friendship? A friendship is not something that's automatically that happens. It's something that takes time.
It's cultivated.
It's cultivated. And I've been blessed to have some very good friends. So good friends that if I start mentioning them, I'll get in trouble, because if I forget, I'll get scorned. But I'm going to mention one. His name is Derwin Pauls. I met him in kindergarten. We went to school together, junior high school, went to DeVry together, and he was the best man at my wedding. And we talked today, and he is a political junkie like I am. And we're still friends. My first friend is still my very good friend. And that's just one. Yeah. I can go into your godfathers, who you know all that stuff. But in any case, I'm not going to go deep into it. But friendship is different. I would like to say, on behalf of men, there are men who have not been taught to be communicative. I would like to believe that you guys have been taught to be communicative.
That talk a lot.
But I believe as you were growing up, that was something that was cultivated in you, amongst your family, to be able to talk. I think that's it. Dialogue was my father's big word. We should be able to dialogue. And if we are unable to dialogue, we're able to express ourselves, we feel inhibited, so we don't express ourselves. So men, I think they have friendships, but it's done differently than women.
Yeah,
that's true.
To make a quick clarification, please continue. To make a quick clarification, I will say my personal belief that there's less emotional awareness. I'm not trying to say that men don't talk a lot.
Well,
I think there's a lot of social.
But you see, I think that oftentimes men are emotionally aware in the spectrum of man. Yeah, because even the term man now is something that is on the table for discussion for people, in reference to how people lean in terms of masculinity,
gender and identity.
And so, and I'm from an older school, so therefore even what I think might become antiquated. But that being said, I think that no matter what, however you stand, your relationships must be built. And online, I don't think is the best way to build. It's a way, but not the best way. I think it's fun. And also for parents out there, I'm going to say this. I love my sons beyond the moon and back. There is nothing on this earth that I love more than my sons.
This does sound like a qualifier, right? It sounds like something.
Indeed. However, they are not my friends.
You told us that.
Right.
Yeah.
They are my sons. Now, when you build a father and you have children, I think it is absolutely important that a big component of being a father, that friendship with your children must be embedded within it. Indeed. But if you are able to dismantle or reverse engineer what a father's components are, you would find friendship within it. However, the overarching thing, I must be the father. I must set, rules and guidelines. I must let them see authority, unless they have to understand where we are, and not with a severe hand, but a hand that shows that, there's guidance and trust and this and the other. Because no matter when your friends fail you, I promise you, your father will always be there, and your mother. What I'm saying, I'm just saying that within any good parent, friendship should exist.
Right.
Okay.
But do not confuse that. I think we run the risk in this country of losing our parental responsibility and say, "Oh, they're my friends."
Okay. I do want to challenge that.
They call me Debbie, or they call me not me.
Call you Debbie. Trey, you're going to say?
There are a lot of levels to love. We are aware of that, right? And in terms of friendship, I don't want to necessarily put it on a tier list as to how important it falls, as opposed to like what responsibility it lies and does for a relationship, right? There are some things that your significant other, yourself, may share in a friend that they may not always share with you.
Right. I think that's helpful.
Right, but I think ideally, in terms of like the separation in what a relationship has and what a friendship has, would be, I guess. Well, I think even better. Best way for me to explain what I think an ideal friendship is like if you look at Ocean's 11. All right. I was gonna go and try to be I was trying to like go as deeply as I possibly could with this, but there was a lot of things that you brought up in your spiel in the opening. I couldn't really like place it down. I was like, so what is friendship? And I'm thinking like honestly, like those buddy cop movies back in the day was like I think would be the perfect way to explain it. Like you don't have to see a friend for 10 years or so, right?
Yeah.
But you know what they're doing. You catching up with them from time to time, right? But when you ask for them a very particular task that needs to be done, and you know you can rely on no one else, you're like, Lexington, you son of a gun, I'm in, you know? And then you're able to like just to do a heist together. Like, I feel as if that's how you could tell where your friends truly are, you know?
Wait
like,
a minute, wait a minute. Just not.
I'm not saying.
Are you suggesting that my two sons would be willing to do a heist?
No, I'm not
if they're
saying-
both together on it.
To be honest,
Depending on the circumstance, but no, it's not that I'm aiming or endorsing heist. I'm just saying,
world, get yourself a friend that you can go on a heist with.
Yikes!
all I'm saying is you can
Fatherhood gone wrong. Go on.
you can trust a friend with your deepest secrets, all right? Just like you could very much trust your significant other with your deepest secrets as well, right? But there are they fall in two different categories, right? Your significant other, all right, will fall for you regardless of whether or not the ruling is right, I think, right? I feel as if like no matter what the cards are on the table, right? If you are in a relationship to the end, right, your partner will be there to back you up whether or not it was a right path, a just path, a good path. The main objective would be to make sure that you are elevated as a partner in that relationship.
Okay.
You know, and a friendship, right, they could be honest with you, right? And in terms of that, right, like, again, your significant others could do this as well, but a friend would be honest with you to the point of even turning down your plans, right? Maybe even disagreeing with your plans.
Yes.
Right?
So like if you have a friend and you're like, hey, I want to go on a heist, I want to rob this casino, a friend would be like, yeah. A good friend would be like, sure, but why? A good friend would be like, sure, but maybe let's not do that.
Who are you guys hanging out with?
I feel as if like they will make sure
Top men.
Exactly. They will be the ones to question your plan until you have it down to a T. And then you can go into the gala dressed up with.
This become a heist podcast?
All right. Listen. Can I reveal something? We've been. How long have we been doing this show now?
For about 6 months now.
6 months now. Do you know that I did this show with all just for this moment to ask this question publicly of my two sons? Now that you're on the air, betwixt the both of you, do you guys did you ever have secrets between the both of you that I don't know about?
Oh, Dad, you've asked this question before.
I've asked. What have you told me? I don't know.
That's the beautiful
You've
thing
asked
about
the
the
question
secret.
before.
That's the beautiful thing about the secret. Yes, you know that we had them.
Well, to be honest, here's the thing. I think the answer is yes, and this is not even like I'm holding a secret from you. I don't remember them. I just know they've happened. You know?
Wow. I think I accept that answer and confused at the same time.
No, hold on. I got you. I can explain this pretty soon. Because you had a rule in our house for a while that if one of us got in trouble, we both did.
Yes.
So it was also in both of our interests. So it wasn't even like,
Yeah.
so
I thought it was a good rule.
I mean,
Are you guys are you guys connected more? Do you think that you're really connected with your brother?
I mean,
Are you guys connected very close? Or do
I
you,
got it. Okay.
So
answer the question, please. Your Honor, answer the question. Do you find you guys that are very close with one another?
Yes.
Mission accomplished. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead. Sorry. There you go. Thank you. That's the way it's done.
We're on camera.
This is how you do it.
this is what we had to deal with. This is what we had to deal with.
I'm going to go back to friendship. We're talking about different relationships.
Different relationships.
Sorry. All right. Well, go on.
No, Josh, are we cutting you off, by the way? I didn't mean
Yeah,
to.
No, we're not. I'm
Okay,
fine.
okay.
I mean,
No.
like,
No, how much time we have?
we have about 12 minutes.
Okay,
Go on.
okay, good.
So I hear you. I hear you. I agree with you. My bringing this up wasn't to like compare friendships with other relationships. It wasn't to be like what's better to have a friend or a wife? Like it wasn't or like a friend. That wasn't the point. I was just saying like I've noticed, at least as far as I'm concerned, I don't think I hear about people talk about the friend. Like because you're also the way people talk about friendships. The way people talk about friendships, also the way people even seek out friendships. Because I hear sometimes people either feeling, if not alone, at least like, man, I don't feel like I don't have enough friends, or like they want to do something more, they want to go out with someone, something like that. But also, friends always seem to be made in circumstance. You know,
That's very much true.
you know, that's like, yo, how did you meet your friend? Like, we went to school together. Oh, we did this. But very rarely do you seek out a friend. And maybe that's what you need at some moment in your life. But it's harder to seek out a friend. And I think in the world, some people even. It seems more understandable to seek out a partner. People are like, they'll get that more. You know what I mean? People are like, I go to the club and meet a person. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
People might. I don't go to clubs, so I don't know.
Right.
People will turn up on a Tuesday,
You just
even
said
though
there's
it's a
not
work
enough
day.
third spaces out there, so I don't think anyone's
Third
doing that
spaces,
anymore.
that's
I don't. It's the term.
Well, listen. We would not be good friends if we didn't invite our new good friend, Mr. Nels, to give us as a friend. Nels, how do you make friends? This is our videographer, our friend here, the face you never see. Go.
I mean, this day and age, as an adult, there's no school anymore. Well, not really school anymore like that you're physically in. There's a lot of online stuff. Do work.
To work.
Yeah.
To work.
Do work. Make a connection. You feel the connection, and you go from there.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
mean, you don't. It's not planned. Not always planned. But I mean, I got a friend I had for 40 years. Another friend I've had for 20 years. You know, but meeting new people is mainly at this age is do work.
Yeah.
Work.
Okay.
Work.
All right.
Working.
But even in that work, you're right, you can note within your roster your history of all the people, the acquaintances, however you want to put them in the echelon of friendships of people that you're willing to work with again.
True, but I don't put them as friends really.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what I don't use the term friends like that.
No, that's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
You might have
I
like a
really-
network or.
Yeah, network.
Yeah.
I don't really use friends like that. It's just like you have a mutual what's the word?
Goal?
Goals.
Okay.
Do have mutual likes.
Right.
Yeah, I got you. Interests. Yeah.
Taking a road trip. You like you said, going to coffee shops.
Yeah, yeah.
Like some people like doing that. Maybe Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay.
I see what you-
Anything. Or going to Great Escape with your family.
Right.
Family with maybe somebody has kids.
Yeah, yeah.
So friends are, you find different situations
Mm-hmm.
for relationships with people. You
Right.
can't
Right.
bring a certain friend into everything you do.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially in this day.
Okay, well, Nels, I'm just going to give you one little help right here, if you don't mind. That person that Nels worked with and you thought he was friends, he's actually not talking about you because he is your friend. You are the friend he was speaking at from work, but he was just talking in general, but not you. That person that Nels has spoken.
I almost want
Is
to.
that okay? There you go.
I almost want to challenge the fact of like it's because of that definition that friends is actually hide in an even higher part of the tier. Again, if there was one, because there's such a sanctified placement for what a friend really ought be, right? Because like again, every other acquaintance, coworker, associate, a colleague that you might meet in your day in your run of day, right? You're not going to consider a friend unless, of course, they are in the thick of it with you. I'd imagine, you know, like there's a good there's a good amount of people in your life that you say, oh yeah, I can work with them definitely, but how many people can you call up in your phone right now and say, oh yes, I can know for a fact they will lift a couch with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think friend in particular is just, you have all these other associates and any other name but friend, right, in your life, right? But I think it is held to such a high esteem that you don't really call a person true friend unless, of course, you know them to be there regardless.
Yes.
I get that on a personal level. I want to make sure I'm illustrating this right. I get that on a personal level. I am not claiming that friends are on a lower tier as we're putting this in terms of other relationships. I'm saying I just don't hear about it as much as something to be cultivated like other relationships are. And that was just like, what are your thoughts on that? Because I think my friends are near and dear to me. I try to be good to my friends, but also it's one of those things that I think as an individual, it's almost like you said, because a lot of friends are having friendships are put in this almost like a safe space of my friend. And I know this. So I have a longtime friend that I know that no matter what in fact, most of our friendship at this point is almost over the phone. But I know anytime I call them or I need them, at some point they'll be there, and that's a beautiful thing.
Right.
But there's also a certain level of like, I don't want to put laziness to it, but you can't let just that be the friendship, you know what I mean?
Right.
And again, I'm not trying to compare. I just
but
you
let
guys
me
see what I'm saying?
No, I do, because
Okay.
I'm going to just say this though. If we look at social media as a thing that's all over the place, I would agree with you. I see more platforms where people are touting or regaling the attributes of being individualistic, singular of mind. There's so many people that, well, I don't care what you think about me. I'm going to say what I want to say. And I don't care. You don't care. I don't need you. And I don't. There's so much of that online. And oftentimes, I think that it's called clickbait, if that's the term. Sometimes some people are argumentative just so they can get more likes. In other words, you can either be famous or infamous. Both of them will get you likes, a lot of likes,
Real quick, sorry, to jump off of that, I think that you may have brought up a good point. I know a lot of times something I'll see, and this is brought up as like a thing to be proud of, or a lot of people try to pose like, oh yeah, I made it on my own. I did it on my own.
Right.
And this is very legitimately, if it was a completely individualized story, with all your success was just you and you alone, congrats. To be honest, that's difficult. I would argue that's rarer than most people believe, and someone was there.
Absolutely.
Someone was there. Someone helped. And I'm just saying, like, but that idea to prop up, like, oh, I did it on my own, that individual thing, is something that's promoted more in this like capitalistic, you know what I mean?
The self-made man or woman is rarer than we think, because oftentimes someone did something. It could be that encouraging word from a teacher that stayed in your mind as a child, that helped to motivate you to go further. And even people saying yes to an idea that they're not even participating in, saying, hey, that's a good idea, that encourages too. So yeah, maybe the sweat equity, a great deal of it could have been done on your own. But if you really think back, how much do we do on our own? And for my Christian friends, real quick, when we're talking about love, yes, I didn't mention what they say about the eros, which is the romantic love, and we speak of the phileo, which is the brotherly love, community love, or the agape, just in case people, because I know people are biting their, how come you ain't saying nothing about that? And just wanted to let you know, we're aware of that, just cover all my bases, let you know I'm watching and I'm seeing. Go ahead.
Okay. Cool. For myself, speaking about all those other levels of love, right? And I find like I treat this with the same way I treat kindness in general, right? My friendship is not necessarily needed to be touted. My friendship is not necessarily needed. Like, don't get me wrong, I will celebrate my friends throughout, right? And please, for all those on social media, celebrate your friends however you feel is appropriate, right? But for myself, right, I'm not in there for the praise. I'm not really in there to like, oh yeah, I just want to say, hey, how you doing, right? My friendship, right, the way I treat myself in a friendship, right, is if you call me, I am there for you the best way I can be. All right, I don't need a birthday party. I don't need a day out on the golf course, right? I just need a moment for you to consider me whenever you do need help, right? And if I am there for you in any facet of your growth, your journey, I am happy, right? Because I don't need to be a friend who's expecting a friendship in return. I don't need necessarily a level of reciprocity in terms of how I am treated as a friend, but more so knowing that I can treat you as a friend.
Ooh, that's interesting.
I would then take this.
But then again, that's just a level of altruism, which is not really a friendship, a love based on like equal love.
I like that. How much time do we have?
Less than a minute. About a minute less.
All right, so then we'll wrap it up. I want to continue more off of that because you brought up a good point, but
we'll bring it home for us. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I'll say is I think because, like, again, we're talking about friends, we're talking about love. Love comes in many forms. And from my personal opinion, I was just saying I feel like sometimes friendships can get lost in the idea of the individual, the day-to-day. I need to go to work. I need to deal with my partner. I need to take care of all these other obligations. And although your friends are there for you, or maybe you may be there for your friends, sometimes I think we can get so lost in the day-to-day. So what I'll say to our audience, what I'll say to YouTube, what I'll say to all that type of stuff, call one of your friends. Call a good friend. Call a friend you haven't talked to in a while. If you feel comfortable, tell them that you love them. Tell them that you care about them. Ask them for something. Hey, drop over and just be like, hey, I'm going to make you some food, all that jazz. But treat your friends as friends, and treat your friends in a way that you would want to be treated when you feel like you're alone. Everyone's had a bad day. Just remember that. And you could be friends to everybody.
And listen, you're here in various fields. You got a friend right here. You got a friend in here.
See you on the next one.
Love you guys.